Okay, welcome back to week two
Week
of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. We are talking about the Sermon on the Mount, and it is so important to know this because Jesus' kingdom is different than the kingdom of the world, and we want to know what it looks like to live inside God's kingdom. And when we take a look at Jesus' teaching, we realize he is much more concerned about what's inside of us than what's outside.
Yep.
But before we jump into that, I got a question. Anger.
Never dealt with it.
Never dealt with it.
Never
What
angry?
makes you angry? What ticks you? What really sets you off?
Oh, dude, I've got something. So I get so angry. This is my confession, I guess, to everyone
To
here.
everyone.
I get bad road rage. And I just get so angry at drivers that do certain things, such as switching lanes without putting on their blinker. Getting in the left lane on the highway and going the speed limit. It's like,
That's
what are you
right.
doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Left lane is the
get
speed.
out of the way.
That's right.
And I find myself getting so angry at these people that I don't even know. I can't even see their face.
Yeah.
But I'm just so frustrated because they're in my way.
Yeah.
They're not doing what I think they
I bet
should.
none of you have been in the car when your parents have lost their, flipped their lid, right? None of
Yeah.
you.
No.
None of you.
Yeah, all Christian parents over there.
Yep.
Maybe something similar is like just the other day, my wife and I, family, we went to Target to get some Christmas stuff, and I saw this lady, and she like put all the stuff in her car. We were sitting there talking for a second, and then she just like pushed the cart and got in her car and left. And I was like, who are you as a person? And I judged I was like, you know what? She'll probably be in jail in 3 years. That's probably what we'll be. That's some progression. And so I instantly judged all of who she was. And I was so angry that she would just push her cart away. And I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of similar to you guys. I think if I see somebody doing something that I perceive as like inconsiderate, that really frustrates me. I get so mad about that. Like the other day, there was this a gas station attendant. I had to go inside. I needed my receipt. And he was like playing on his phone. And so I'm standing there for a few minutes and he like wasn't bothered by me there. And then all of a sudden like 4 or 5 people are now like in line and this guy's still like doing his own thing. I was like, bro, come on.
Stop playing Clash of Clans.
That's
and check me out.
That's right, dude. Check those notifications later. Like respond to your DMs later. So it was brutal. And like in that moment, I think maybe for me, but also for all of us, I was not looking at that person as like an image bearer of God. I was not looking at him as with value. Like he was an obstacle. He was an obstacle to my schedule, what I needed to get done that day. I wasn't thinking about how to show him God's love or be an example of Jesus to him. I was like, dude, come on, get your act together. I think
It's crazy how like anger just like totally flips that. Like we instantly go from like trying to love them and reach them for Jesus to like, I'm angry. No, you are an obstacle. It's just crazy how that flips so quickly.
Yeah, we think about those people, and we use the word like those people, that lady, whatever. Whenever we are ticked off or angry, people become an obstacle, like you said, and we see them differently. And Jesus, he's really concerned about what we do with our anger.
Yeah.
What we do with our anger. And so he, in Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 through 26, he says, "You have heard it said to our ancestors, you must not commit murder. But if you commit murder, you are subject to judgment." Have you committed murder to anybody? Anyone committed murder?
Nope.
I have not this
Sweet.
week.
We're good, right? Actually, no. Jesus says, "But I say, if you are even angry with somebody, you are subject to judgment. If you call somebody an idiot, you are in danger of being brought before the court. And if you curse someone, you are in danger of the fires of hell." Oh my gosh, Jesus is getting hot.
That's a hot take right there.
He's getting
the ultimate
hot.
hot take.
So what is Jesus saying about anger here?
Okay, this is hitting me hard because in my mind, when I'm thinking of my example,
Yeah.
the people on the road, we were talking about how they're just obstacles. Like, I can't even see these people. Like, they're just kind of a car sometimes in my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm so angry, but I don't really think that's a problem. Like, I don't know them. I don't see them. But this is challenging that, no, it's not just if I, like, rear end them or run them off the road
Right.
or, give them the signal that I'm in trouble. It's saying, no, I need to check my heart. And even that anger, frustration towards them is an issue.
So you could have an anger problem and never physically hurt somebody
Yep.
or say a
Yep.
word towards somebody. It starts in here.
Yeah.
Man.
Wow, that is crazy. So there's also kind of a progression here about what happens when we let anger fester in our lives.
I think there's a couple reasons why Jesus is addressing anger. I think he sees it as an issue because you see the progression there. There's anger first, and it starts in our heart, and then he goes to words, right? You idiot, right? Calling someone else, like degrading them in a sense. And then it moves to things like wishing them harm, like cursing them, like hoping that harm would befall them. And it's crazy that just someone cutting us off, someone pushing a buggy, someone playing a game on their phone, we instantly remove their personhood. They are now an object, and like we wish them, like I wish you'd get in trouble. I wish something would fight. Like that's kind of what anger does. I also think it's interesting. Another reason why Jesus is talking about anger is it seems as though he's like, the bar used to be here. Don't murder. Maybe it's really down here. Don't murder, right? There's this easy hurdle to like just step over. But then Jesus raises it and he's like, it's not just murder, but it's actually just hatred in your heart. It's anger in your heart. And so now we can't reach that hurdle. And the awesome thing is Jesus is laying all this out. And he's going to do this with all these things. But he's raising that bar saying, you can't achieve it, but I can. Like, I am not going to murder. I'm also not going to hate anyone in my heart or have any unrighteous anger. And so I just think that's the encouraging thing. But a couple of the reasons why he's talking about anger.
Yeah, and do not commit murder. That is from the 10 Commandments, right? So a lot of us go like, man, I'm going to go through the 10 Commandments. I'm good, right?
Check.
And Jesus is like, let's talk about the real 10
Let's talk about the heart.
Let's talk about the heart. All right, so we talked about that, but Jesus doesn't just let us think about our anger. He actually gives us a solution. Let me read 23. So if you are presenting a sacrifice at the altar in the temple, so if you're going to worship and you suddenly remember that someone has something against you, leave your sacrifice at the altar, go and be reconciled to that person, then come and offer your sacrifice to God. So it's not just about being angry. Now I got to do something about that. What am I supposed to do?
Totally. So here I think we see that we have a responsibility to be peacemakers. And this is actually pretty incredible because I think a lot of people, like maybe for you in the car or something like that, you're like, God, like, I'm sorry I did that. Like, that was messed up. Maybe I shouldn't do that. But here we see a relationship component of like, God just doesn't want us to be right with him, but he also wants us to have a right relationship with one another. And so that's where we emphasize this peacemaker responsibility, where we need to go and make things right. This is pretty powerful. Like, you're in the middle of spending time with God, and it's this verse 23 says, no, you need to stop everything you're doing. Go make things right with that person that has that offense, and then come back to God. So pretty powerful.
David, one of the things that kind of sticks out there that convicts me and think about my stuff is we have this responsibility, and it's not just like if I'm mad at you, I need to fix stuff with you, and it stops there, because the reality is if I'm mad at you, sometimes that affects my relationship with Ethan or Kevin. Like, it really permeates into the whole world because it is in my heart. It's not just this outward expression. It's on the inside too.
So we take it out on other people.
Yeah, totally.
If we don't address the anger in our hearts, it's going to bleed into every single area and other relationships.
And I also see that it also bleeds in a relationship with God, kind of how David said. And that is a crazy, he's like, don't come to church, don't worship until you fix things with your brother and sister in Christ. It's like those relationships are kind of intermingled, and that's a big thing for God to say. Huge. It's like, stop, don't sacrifice to me, go fix your anger problems, and then come back to me, because it affects our worship to him. Yeah. That's just crazy.
Man, this is challenging for me. I don't know if but it's challenging for me, and I hope it's challenging for you to realize that your anger on the inside is going to affect the rest of your world. So as you go into your small groups and you discuss this, one of maybe the questions to think about is, who's somebody that you have anger towards that you're holding on to that anger? Like, what do you need to do about that? How do you need to reconcile that? Maybe that's a discussion that you in your small group can have. Yeah. But I hope that as you unpack this with your group, that you can understand better what to do with your anger and how to live in a different way than the world. Thanks again for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week.